Hello, my name is Brittany Tillman, and you're here for the Waking Hour Wellness Workshop. Today, we will be talking about different methods of self care, the Thrive method, and some of those tools that are in the Thrive Toolbox. And we'll also be discussing creating a culture of wellness in the workplace. In our time together today, we will begin with a guided visualization exercise. So let's get started. When you're ready, please get comfortable and close your eyes. Bring your awareness to your breath, allowing your focus to turn inward. Deepening your breathing, filling your belly as you inhale, pausing at the top, and then letting out a slow exhale. Continue to deepen your breath. Thoughts will come and go. Don't judge them or attach to them. Just bring your mind back to your breath. Let's go ahead and take another deep inhale. Couple extra sips at the top of the breath. And then go ahead and let out again a slow exhale. Continue to let your body relax. Now imagine that you are someplace comforting. Maybe it's a beautiful meadow or down by the sea, a place that you've gone on vacation to, or just a cozy room in your home. Wherever the special place is, take in the surroundings, allowing your mind to recreate the scene. Remember the positive feelings that you had in this place, the warmth that the memory creates. Really allow yourself to be in this experience. Allow your senses to come alive. Maybe there are people or animals or something that's important to you that shows up in this scene. Allow it all to be. It is as it should be. Feeling the sense of calm, go ahead and think of something that you're grateful for in your life. Allow yourself to really embody this gratitude, deepening your vision of actually being in this moment. Invite these positive feelings to flood your being. Keeping this vision in your mind and feeling in your body, go ahead and continue to relax and to breathe. Now let this mental image fade, returning to your body slowly. Take a few more deep breaths, and when you're ready to, you can go ahead and open your eyes. I hope you all feel very relaxed. This is a visualization technique that I like to use. Visualization, also known as creative visualization, is a mindfulness exercise that involves using mental imagery in a relaxed and meditative state to help manifest the things in your life or to simply bring about a greater sense of inner peace. Use your imagination to create a desired outcome in your mind. This process of internally experiencing success positively affirms your dreams and visions can be reality, as well as shifts your core beliefs and allows you to have more confidence, clarity, and vibrational resonance with achieving your personal and professional goals. Again, my name is Brittany Tillman. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm here on behalf of my newest company, The Waking Hour, which produces wellness-inspired events and workshops around California. This is a newer venture for me, but I've spent the last 20 years as a CEO of my company, YBR Promotions, doing brand and entertainment event marketing. During COVID-19, like most people in our country and all over the world, I've been faced with many, many personal challenges, as well as professional challenges, including the closure of my company due to this pandemic. Laying off employees, navigating the laws, figuring out loans to stay afloat, as well as having stress-related health issues, learning to homeschool my child. I've had a death in the family, and surmounting stressful family affairs to tend to. What a time to be alive. I mean, so many people are facing this kind of thing. So, why do I share this with you? Really, for transparency. I'm doing all right. Many people might not feel that way, but I think it's important to realize that we are all in this together and that we do have a lot of things that are going on outside of the norm. Right now, we're facing a great time of transformation and uncertainty in our lives. Every person you or I know are experiencing vast amounts of change. So, while our stories and our experiences may differ, many of our feelings are the same: anxiety, fear, frustration, anger, depression, loneliness, overwhelm, and grief. Let me ask you, what were your plans for 2020? I was set to do my fifth annual Waking Hour experience in Golden Gate Park as part of the All Day I Dream Festival. This is a wonderful experience that I've been so fortunate to be able to curate for the last 5 years. I do this event in San Francisco in Golden Gate Park, as well as one at the Port of Oakland. It's so sad to me to not be able to be there this year, creating this collaboration of health and wellness, enjoying watching thousands of people come together to dance, to do yoga, to hug, to chat, to picnic, enjoying life in communion, and the pleasures of just simply celebrating together. I have had friends this year that have had to cancel weddings. They've lost multi-million dollar contracts. They've been furloughed from companies they've worked at for years, if not decades, canceled trips abroad to amazing exotic places, and so many other plans that have now either been put on pause or even opportunities that have expired. We are experiencing collective grief. That is a fact. This is what we're doing as we're letting go of plans and intentions for an entire year, maybe longer. It is okay to feel pain, to feel this vast disappointment. And there is no need to belittle your own experience just because perhaps you haven't lost a friend, a job, or your home to this pandemic. We do not need to compare our grief with others. But we can accept that there is, in fact, grief that exists and to sit with it, to feel it, and to have compassion for others. Right now, more than ever, it is so important to create a culture of wellness in our workplaces and in our lives. Right now, more than ever, it is so important to create a culture of wellness in our workplaces, even if those are done remotely. With more business moving into the virtual realm, now more than ever, it is important for us to keep our human connection with others. So, what does this mean, a culture of wellness? Even in the good old days, as in pre pandemic, career burnout, mental health issues, addiction, or escapism tend to run rampant in many workforces. People often feel this need to constantly be on and have little time for themselves. Our fast paced society and lifestyles and ever demanding jobs often leave little room for practicing self and collective care. While telecommuting and virtual workplaces are not only popular, but actually quite mandatory and necessary now, we can still build a deeper sense of community and interpersonal relationships in our business. The robust digital world provides so many valuable tools for increasing organization, efficiency, brand awareness, sales, but really more than ever, we need to think about how we're going to preserve what actually is important to us right now. But what about the preservation of what actually got us to this transformational point in our global evolution? Our humanness. By understanding how to live more holistically and authentically, we can develop those skills that we need to thrive individually and in community, which we need now more than ever. And we can adjust to whatever this new normal is going to be. Life can feel complicated, exhausting, and downright burdensome at times. We have ever growing to do lists, and often our own needs are at the bottom of that totem pole. Being stretched so thin, it's no wonder that showing up to work, even online, can make it challenging to feel present, excited, or empathetic, and really can just feel so impossible on some days. But we need our companies to thrive. And in order for business to thrive, each individual amongst the collective must thrive too. Self care is not an option. Running a business in the entertainment industry for 2 decades has given me the unique opportunity of connecting with hundreds of different individuals, mentoring dozens, and really getting a clear sense of what we need in order to create a culture of wellness. Having experienced my own challenges around self care, I was able to develop this process that has helped me with my own self healing and also to understand how to tune into the wellness needs of others. And I call this the Thrive Method. The Thrive Method: trust, hope, responsibility, imagination, vulnerability, and empathy. In order to feel present, optimistic, well balanced, and engaged in our lives, you need to nurture and grow these Thrive qualities. Thrive stands for trust. Trusting the process, trusting you have a purpose, and having faith in yourself. Hope. It is important to cultivate a perpetual state of optimism even when facing the unknown. Responsibility. We are each responsible for our own choices, our own life, and our own happiness and well being. Imagination. As one of my favorite thought leaders always says, everything is figure outable. So be innovative and not afraid to take risk. Vulnerability. You have to know when to be transparent and also when to ask for help. Empathy. Be willing to be open minded, knowing that everybody is going through hardships at different times and you never know what someone might be experiencing at any moment. Try not to be reactive and, as much as possible, always have compassion. So, how do we thrive? What is the consistent theme in cultivating all of these qualities? They all start with how we think. Now, how many of us have felt so stressed out at a time when we were frustrated or anxious and then lost it on a colleague at work? Or we came home exhausted from the day and took that stress out on somebody that we love? Oftentimes, when we are overwhelmed or stressed out with our feelings and emotions, we move to automatic or habitual behaviors. For me, this might be yelling at a family member or deciding, you know what, after a long day, I deserve a drink. Sometimes for people, it involves zoning out in front of the TV and eating a bunch of unhealthy food. Moving directly from emotion to action is being reactive. Now, when we aren't all wound up and we have the conscious awareness to be more present in the moment, we can go from feeling to thinking to action, which involves thoughtfulness. There are really 3 ways that I see that this Thrive method can improve leadership and teamwork. We learn to communicate in a calm, effective manner about hot topics and tough decisions. We attract more respect and loyalty from fellow team members in our company. We create a culture of trust where we can share idea generation and support others where innovation can grow. So let's look more closely at this process and discuss what I like to call the space between. The space between is the interface of feelings, thoughts, and action. This is where true thriving can happen. We always say, what should I do? When really we should be asking ourselves, what should I think? It is difficult to get clear on what to think when we are operating from this place of negative controlling emotions. So our first step is to calm and manage our emotions. Once this is accomplished, your thoughts will be more clear. When thoughts are clear, you are in the best position to take action. So ask yourself these 3 questions. How do I feel? What do I want? And then, and only then, what should I do? In college, I majored in holistic health, Western psychology, and Eastern philosophy. It was very exciting to design my own major, and I continued to study all of these things throughout my entire adult life. In all of my metaphysical and wellness studies, I've always been most attracted to the Buddhist philosophy, a main principle being that we need to liberate our minds in order to be truly present in our lives. Our thoughts are powerful. And the keys to unlocking these thrive qualities is cultivating mindfulness or thoughtfulness. This is the process for creating thoughtful and authentic actions. It's important to acknowledge your feelings. Use some of these techniques that I'm going to share with you and others that you can find from numerous resources to calm and center your actions. Mindfully think about the best course of action. Decide how you're going to take action, and then reflect on this process and the outcome. This reflection component is so key and important because it's then that you kind of realize how you might tweak the way that you process things, how you respond to things, and show up in a more mindful capacity. Mindfully thinking about the best course of action really does involve diving into that space between. Taking actions once your thoughts are clear and you've moved out of that emotional reactive place will lead you to having much more authentic actions. And while you might not always get the result that you want, obviously there's other factors that are always going to be involved, but you'll feel a lot better about your own authenticity in the process. So what are some of these tools that you can use? I've created what's worked for me, and that is the Thrive Toolbox. The Thrive Toolbox is a collection of stress management techniques. There's thoughtfulness or mindfulness. That's also having gratitude and can also involve social engagement. Habit tracking, which is, following these patterns of healthy versus unhealthy coping mechanisms and really jotting them down. Relaxation, this can just be meditative breathing, just taking some time for quiet and stillness, even if it's just a few moments throughout the course of your day. Intentions, getting clear on those things that you want to personally and professionally manifest in your life. Visualization, similar to the technique that we did at the start of this session, is creating those visualization techniques that you can use to co-create your reality. And empathy, as opposed to just a personal quality, you can really develop a practice on how to use empathy most effectively in your lives and in your workplace. Now, while I've created this guide that's worked very well for me, I do realize that some of these practices may be familiar to you. I also want to emphasize how important it is to actually develop your own practice. Some things may resonate with you, some may not. You might want to build upon some. Might want to personalize them in different ways. Use what you learn in this workshop and this workbook as a jumping off point to create your own process of self-discovery and self-care. And just use it as an opportunity to even share them with other people, with your coworkers. But keep in mind, it is the actual practice, the doing, that brings about personal transformation. And consider, with so many people now spending such a significant portion of their time working from home on their computers, that a lot of these tools are extremely valuable practices that you can share with managers or teach them to your team leads and incorporate them into your own company toolbox in order to create this culture of wellness. So now that we have a clear idea on understanding the Thrive method and a bit of a roadmap on how to get there, we're going to dive into some of the exercises. Now, if you have the adjoining workbook, you can pull it out now. It is downloadable at wakinghour.com. And if not, you can just grab some notebook or a scrap piece of paper, and we'll begin doing some of these exercises. For this introductory session, we will not be going through every single exercise in the toolbox. We'll kind of skip around for you to get an idea of some of the different tools that we offer. We'll jump around so that you can see how some of these different exercises work, but I do encourage you to go back and to use the workbook and go through it methodically, and honestly, doing it daily is the best practice. So go ahead and grab your workbook or your notebook and let's get started. So let's begin with habit tracking. Habit tracking is a great tool for honest self-reflection. While we identify with having good habits and bad habits, and we can label them as such, it's best not to get overly critical with ourselves. Judgment only perpetuates cycles of shame and escapism. So let's focus here really on what serves you and what does not. Take a minute or two and just jot down some of your habits in each column of the worksheet. If you don't have your worksheet, you can start by writing down some of the good habits that you do have, and then move on to working out some of the habits that aren't so great. It's so important to get truthful and vulnerable with yourselves. No one else is looking at this or watching here, so just be honest. What are some of the things that you'd like to change about yourself? What are some habits that you don't currently have that you'd like to invite into your daily practice? And also remember that you want to focus on some of your good habits too and give yourself credit for those that you already have. Really, this is about doing a self inventory. Personal habits affect us, but what about work habits? Communication habits, even. Maybe you have a reputation for steamrolling ideas in meetings, or that's something to acknowledge and to track. Or maybe you always say yes and miss deadlines because you take on more tasks than you can properly manage. The habit tracking exercise is a great way to evaluate your own performance at work. This is also a great exercise to share with others to track their own, and even to get into a group and to share them together. That vulnerability helps build trust amongst teams. The more you do it, the more presence you're going to have in your workday, and the more self awareness you'll have to develop your own habits that you would like to keep. Now that you've identified some of these habits, spend some time tracking them each and every day using either your notebook, or you can use an app like Habit Bowl. You'll want to note the triggers, feelings, and circumstances that allow these habits to manifest. As you become more clear, you can use some visualization techniques and micro goals to release those that don't serve you and to increase opportunities to appreciate and enjoy the habits that are, in fact, working for you. Continue this practice at home, and I do recommend that you track your habits daily. Now let's move on to empathy. Anyone out there have a day where you sign off from being online and go lay down on your couch and feel like this lovely lady? I have more often than I'd like to say during this pandemic. And sometimes you just feel like crap. And guess what? So does everybody else. We all have hard days, weeks, or right now, even months. Everybody loses the ability to be empathetic or thoughtful at times. And it's really important to turn your empathy into a conscious practice. Be kind, stop judging, show support. And remember, it's just not always about you. Be gentle with yourself and with others. Developing an empathy practice is extremely useful. And maybe that initially you only really use it after a heated moment with a colleague or a family member. But as you begin to practice more often, you will start to find that space in between in those moments to really pause and show up in a different way. So let's go ahead and begin an empathy exercise. Let's think about a time that you wish you had handled differently. I like to do this sometimes as a visualization technique and close my eyes, but you can also do this just journaling and writing something down. For example, maybe you hurt someone's feelings at work and you reacted harshly to an idea or a problem there. Or it could be that you snapped on somebody in line at the grocery store or yelled at your child about something at home. Whatever it is, keep in mind that we all do this. And so using this empathy practice will help you to tune in to how you do create these automatic responses and to think about how you can do something differently. So whatever the situation was, go ahead and replay the scene, the dialogue, or whatever was taking place, play by play in that moment. Usually in these situations, we're reacting, and that reaction can affect and even hurt another person. So it's important to really put yourself in this other person's shoes. Maybe having had some time from this incident, some space from your emotion and your immediate reaction, you can think about how might you have shown up differently. Just really try to imagine the details of what you might say now or perhaps how you might reframe the entire situation so that this person felt safe and supported during this interaction and maybe even cared about by you. There may be many of these experiences, and sometimes it's good to just go down the rabbit hole and think about different ways in which you could have had more empathy in different types of situations. Also, you might notice that there are patterns where there are certain specific types of situations in which you are easily triggered and may lack empathy. In the workplace, it can be great to have moments of sharing where people talk about empathy, or maybe people write down ways in which they've felt hurt by a situation that is shared with the group. And then people discuss in that group forum how that situation might have been handled differently without really putting the spotlight on anyone, keeping it more anonymous and allowing people to feel heard, and so that change can be made. Really, it can seem insignificant to take those few moments to practice relaxation or empathy techniques, say, even in the course of your workday when you're so busy, after having maybe a tense conversation with a colleague. But once you've started committing to this practice of stilling your mind and really observing your emotional reactions, you may be surprised how different the world responds to you. As you begin to achieve more desired results, these practices will be positively reinforced and become easier for you to employ, both in your life and in your workplace. I always like to visit this Brene Brown quote: empathy is simply listening, holding space, withholding judgment, emotionally connecting, and communicating that incredibly healing message of you're not alone. Again, right now, we may feel very alone, but we are all in this together. We've seen this message on nearly every ad that has come across us. Let's really think about what it means to truly put that into action and show up for the people around us. The next exercise that we'll focus on is intentions. I love working with intentions, and a great way to do this is using a visualization exercise. For me, I find that having my intentions set at the beginning of the day helps my day go more smoothly. Oftentimes, I'll use this at the end of the evening in order to get prepared for the next day ahead. I love to write down my intentions when it comes to planning for large work projects, and also to do it in a group setting where I can see what other people's intentions are, honor them, and make sure that we can collaborate in a way that is effective and efficient for all the people involved. And so everybody feels that their needs are being met. So let's go ahead and take a couple minutes now, either in your workbook or on your notepad, to write down a few intentions that you have. This is a great way to get clear on what you want to call into your life. Your intentions may be focused around your career or a specific project, your relationship, your hobbies, and even your health. This is a place to just explore what you want to manifest in your life. Again, a great way to work with your intentions is in your visualization practice. Oftentimes, I will do my visualization, and once I'm in that clear and calm place, I'll go ahead and write my intentions down. There are quite a few other exercises that are available in this workbook, so I suggest, if you haven't done so already, that you can download it at wakinghour.com. I will be creating some other sessions that will be available that go into more detail on how to participate in creating your own Thrive Toolbox, and also different techniques that can be used in group settings within the workplace. On one of the last pages, you'll find some suggested reading. I think these are great books to make available to your team. They definitely help people to open their minds and to kind of shift the way that they might be looking at things. Additionally, there's some suggested apps that we found to be very helpful and useful in our company environment. I use all of these personally, Not necessarily every day, but as needed. I definitely love the Brainwaves app. This has all different kinds of sound waves that affect healing both the mind and our physical bodies. I really like the Headspace app and the Calm app for meditation when it comes to my internal health and healthful eating and supplements. I love Good Eggs and Thrive Market, especially during this time when grocery delivery seems to be a better option. The Habit Bowl app is a lovely way to keep track of those habits that we've talked about. My Fitness Pal and ClassPass are great for developing like a physical activity practice. And Wobot is an incredible app that I love to use for cognitive behavioral therapy. This is also really wonderful for kids and something great to share with people who do feel overly stressed at work. Dalio is also a fantastic app to use for conscious planning. So thank you so much for being with me here today. I hope you find this useful. I would love any feedback that you have, or if you're interested in getting more resources or would like additional help setting up a program for your workplace, I can be found at wakinghour.com. You can also send me a message on Instagram at Waking Hour Wellness. Take care and be well.